In this video we'll be discussing the concept that is the scale of digestibility. I know it sounds super funky, you may be intrigued hearing it, and as you should be, because in my belief it is a vital concept that every crypto investor should know about. It helps put things into perspective of what really matters in this space, which as always is making those phenomenal gains, while reminding you to not get too caught up in the never-ending rabbit hole that is of course crypto. I first talked about this concept a long time ago, I believe in my render review video last year July, to describe why render was a good investment. Since then I've purposely not mentioned it, leaving it for a moment like now where the tool can stay fresh on your mind for this bull market. Make sure you're subscribed because we're making this type of content often. And if you're finding it annoying how all these exchanges are going KYC, where living in the US or Canada or any other restricted country is really affecting your crypto trading, then you need to sign up for Fair Desk with the link in description, as it'll give you all the services that Binance or Bybit will accept, this time not having to KYC or use a VPN. And those who sign up with my link instantly get VIP 1 status for trading fee discounts, and also up to $100K in bonuses. There's also a giveaway right now for $100. The entry is make an account and open any futures or copy trade. Literally that's it. Yes, probably the easiest 100 you'll ever make. Do so by June 2nd. Going back to this scale of digestibility. What is it, and why is it important? What we're doing with this is leveraging the knowledge of retail, or specifically the lack thereof, and preparing in accordance to that. You need to remember that the average person is extremely lazy. We live in a society where people would rather throw money at something and hope it goes up than spend even just a couple hours looking into that thing. I'm sure you've heard many creators reference how lottery ticket sales are as high as ever, gambling revenue is as high as ever. I understand they were doing this in the context of meme coins, which we'll get to in a second, but what I'm trying to get across here is that humans find comfort in the idea of quick money. It's because quick money involves luck and no knowledge that even at the trade-off of likely losing they're still content. This is why I still believe prices of assets across the crypto sector are still going much higher, as in my opinion retail is still yet to arrive, where the difference being back in 2021 we got mass retail bidding due to the excitement and prospect of making money. I think for this cycle it'll be mass retail bidding, but because they have to make money, individuals are desperate, and price is the greatest advertiser. As soon as these people start hearing about normies making all this money on social media, where this time I think TikTok will be a huge driver in that, and how even more hard-hitting will be when their peers, stuck in the same vicious cycle as them, start making a little bit of money, I believe we'll get that mass influx. Looking at the charts, we only really talk about two areas in the long term, where an asset bottomed and where it topped. So with Cardano in the last cycle, we focus on the 2 to 10 cent range in the bear, and the tops of $3 up here, and how we break that down by saying you could have made over a 100x. But it's these bars that make up the meat and potatoes of every chart, where the most volume and bidding comes in. But at the same time the last bars you'd want to be the buyer in. I call them the retail bars. This is where John and Sam or Chan and Mohammed buy Cardano at 90 cents and get excited about doubling their investment at $1.80, letting their friends and co-workers know all about it, having a swagger about them as if they've nailed this crypto thing. We on the other hand, the nameless and faceless, have one job only: determine what assets will print the hardest and most abundant retail bars. For that we must put ourselves in the head of John right now and front-run them on where they'll be bidding. There's a bunch of things I consider in this. I know they'll be attracted to crypto going up in price. I know they'll feel safety in crypto with the strongest community. But I know one thing they'll also strongly abide by is the scale of digestibility. It has to do with the idea of what retail can comprehend, what they can understand, which is the fact that they comprehend and understand things at a very minimal level. And whether we like it or not, that is where liquidity will flow. The epitome of this is meme coins. Meme coins are the easiest for the average nobody to digest because there's nothing to it at all. Whereas on the other end we have the crazy complex ZK ledger proof of putting homomorphic machine learning encryption sharding consensus type projects. For many it'll be too much. And reflecting back, I too went through this cycle, where I first came into crypto having no idea what was what, making up a chunk of these retail candles on Litecoin and XRP and Digibyte, losing everything and promising to get revenge by knowing every ounce of everything there is to know in crypto. And the truth is at one point I did feel like I knew everything there was to know, obviously at a relative level. I had incredible success last bull run, however, I feel I could have done even better with less work. Knowing more about the tech and ins and outs didn't exactly translate to more money in my pockets. If I'd paid more attention to retail behaviors last cycle I feel I would have done better. So what what's happened now is we've gone full circle. I've returned back to the state of looking at things from a surface level, putting myself back in the shoes where I and so many begin, with the key difference being still having this in the back pocket at all times, as there will be times where you have to tap into this side of you to literally make or save your bag. For instance, last cycle, by knowing intricacies of a project like Terra Luna, shorting the crypto when it broke peg was perhaps as easy a trade as you could get. You knew the dynamics from that point onward that this thing was literally going to go to zero. And not to knock anyone in specific, but there were very big accounts at this time who were saying to buy Terra Luna at the 30, 20, 10, $5 levels, going about it in the mindset of buying the dip. But again, a basic grasp of the project would have never allowed you to do that because there was no dip or recovery after a certain point. So I still highly recommend for you all to go into that geek phase, as it will help from time to time. But going back to this, knowing what retail would and wouldn't bid becomes so much more clear, it actually gives you relief. And so if on one end we got the meme coins, the idea of understanding nothing, and the other end we have the most sophisticated things to ever touch the blockchain, what comes in between, and will retail be buying those? Next to meme coins and being the most understandable are what I'd call the one-liners. These are the crypto whose entire story can be described in just a couple words. If you need more than a few words, or if the few words can't be understood in simple English, that crypto is likely further down the line. Examples of crypto that come here would be something like rndr, a network for lending and borrowing GPU power where the rndr token is used as the currency. Anyone with an average IQ, regardless of their experience in crypto, should be able to fathom this well. Filecoin is another one, a network for storing data where the file token is used as the currency. Solana is also great, a better, cheaper, faster ethereum, something like a bittensor, the Bitcoin of AI. In fact, I'd even say that Solana and Tau would be easier to understand than ETH or Bitcoin, because with ETH and Bitcoin, since they're the originators, you'd actually have to explain what they are. With ETH you say it's the biggest and most popular smart contract platform. Okay, that sounds cool, but what exactly does that mean? With Bitcoin you say it's decentralized money, it's digital gold. But this confuses people because money and gold I can actually see and feel. I know it's there. Why do we need a digital gold? Oh well, it's scarce, there's only 21 million that will ever be mine. Boom, you lost them. If Bitcoin was easy to understand, it wouldn't have taken this long to see the type of adoption we're just now getting. But with Sol and Tau saying it's better than ETH or the Bitcoin of AI, you wouldn't even really need to understand ETH or Bitcoin. You just conclude, okay, this is better than ETH, but it's worth less. Sounds like a steal. I know Bitcoin has a ton of hype around it, and this thing is Bitcoin but for AI. Sol being better than ETH has nothing to do with being true, and bittensor is nowhere near the Bitcoin of AI, they're not even in the same realm. But the narrative, and how much that message gets conveyed, is what matters. Think of something like a Celestia now, a crypto project for data availability and modularity. A lot of people won't be clicking with that. What about Fantom? You see, Fantom, or with any other L1s, we can't exactly say a better, cheaper, faster ethereum. Technically you can, but it won't hit to the same extent that it does with Solana. Because it's Sol that has that unlock, it's what propagated it to being a top 5 crypto. But if you then have to go on to explain why Fantom's supremacy is even better than Sol over ETH, you start using words like Sonic and Opera and so on. The point of this video isn't to convert all of you per se from crypto tech enthusiasts to only superficial speculators. Like I said, knowing the ins and outs is pivotal for anything you're invested in. Rather, my hope is to have emphasized how we're not exactly prepping to write a 200-page thesis on the crypto space. We're front-running people with money but no knowledge. Put yourselves in their shoes and see what you'd be inclined to bid. In fact, take yourself back to when you first got in crypto and what you bought and why you bought it. And this concept isn't the end-all be-all. You'll get a good amount of people inclined to buy things on this end due to the illusion of complexity. But this concept came to me when a buddy in the 2021 bull run showed me his portfolio. He didn't strike me as the investor type and had no apprehension of the space, but he'd put most of his money into 3 assets: Cardano because everyone was talking about it, Dogecoin because it's a dog and going up in price, saying, quote, I'm already up double my money, and filecoin because it allows you to store data. I was stunned. I realized guys like this decide the markets, and was questioning if that's where he expended all his capital who was going to be buying my more intricate bags. Thus I made a point to consider this when investing for this cycle, calling it the scale of digestibility. I highly recommend going on ChatGPT or Gemini and asking the chatbot to describe your favorite crypto within 1 sentence. Read it as a newbie. If you can get a good insight with those few words alone, it's a huge plus going into the blow-off top times. To support the content content, sign up to the Fair Desk Crypto Exchange with link in description to unlock the ability to trade crypto for cheap fees and no KYC. Like and subscribe because you won't want to miss the next one. Until then, take care.